Welcome back to the JORDEE podcast. This is Jordan, one of your hosts. Deanna, she's out and about, and she will be back in a couple of episodes. So for now, you just have to deal with just me. And if you haven't listened to episode 1 of our second season, check that one out. We've actually changed our format to do more of like short stories and like serial stories and role play things instead of just doing a topical podcast. And we're playing around with it. I think it's going to be fun. So let's get into it. Today, I'm actually going to read 5 short stories. 5, they're really short. 5 short stories by different authors. And you can find the authors, at least their Reddit account names in our description. So you can check them out and give them some support. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, they're in the description. If you're listening to this on YouTube, same thing. So without further ado, let's get into it. Story number 1. This new old house. We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into a master bedroom, for instance, while I'm on wallpaper removal duty. The previous owner papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal but oddly satisfying. I know, weird. The best feeling is getting a long peel, similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. I don't know about you, but I kinda make a game of peeling. As if I'm on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Under a corner section of paper in every room is this person's name and a date. So strange, but curiosity got the best of me one night when I googled one of the names and discovered the person was actually a missing person. The missing date was matching the date under the wallpaper. So the next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out an APB and a crime scene team, the whole 9 yards. I overheard one of the technicians say, "Yep, it's human." I didn't understand why they would say something like that while examining the wallpaper. Human? What's human? Ma'am? One of the technicians told me. "Ma'am, can you come here for a minute?" I approached the technician, and then he said, "Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you're removing. It's the victim's skin." Story number 2. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is, that I am lucky to have to be lucky. Such a strange word for them to use. they would tell me that I'm lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like undammed rivers. Whenever I complained about how bored I was without having a little brother to play with, they would try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpassed mine, considering his confinement to a dark room in an institution far away. I always begged for them to give him one last chance. Of course, they did at first. Charlie has been back home several times, each time shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it'll start again. The neighborhood cats with gouge out eyes would start showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors would be found dropped on the baby slide in a park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced with bits of dishwashing tablets. My parents hesitate now, and they would use the word last chance very sparingly. They said his disorder made him charming, made it easy for him to fake normalcy, and to trick the doctors who care for him into thinking that he is already rehabilitating. I hate when Charlie has to go away. It makes me have to pretend to be good until he's back. Story number 3. Guardians. He awoke to a huge insect looming over his head, and he screamed his lungs out. They hesitantly left the room, and he stayed up all night, shaking, wondering if it was just a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the floor, then retreat to a safe distance. Bewildered, he accepted the gift. The creatures chittered excitingly. This happened every day for weeks. At first, he was worried that they were fattening him up, but after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn, they were replaced with fresh fruit. As well as cooking, they poured hot, steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when he went to bed. It was bizarre. One night, he awoke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened, but disposed of the remains as best he could. He knew that they had just been protecting him. One morning, the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He lay down, confused, but trusting as they ushered him back to bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread across his body. It felt like a razor being sliced across his stomach. The insects chittered as he spanned them and moaned. It was only when he felt terrified and felt a terrible squirming feeling beneath his skin that he realized the insects hadn't been protecting him. They had been protecting their young. Story number 4. Seeing Red. Everyone loves the first day of school, right? New year, new classes, new friends. It's a day of full of potential and hope before all the dreary depressions of reality show up to ruin all the fun. I like the first day of school for a different reason, though. You see, I have a sort of power. When I look at people, I can sense a sort of aura around them. A colored outline based on how long the person has to live. Most people I meet around my age are surrounded by a solid green hue, which means they have plenty of time left. A fair amount of them have yellowish orange tinge in their auras, which tends to mean a car crash or some sort of tragedy. Anything that takes people before their time has, as they say, the real fun is when the aura ventures into the red end of the spectrum, though. Every now and again, I'll see someone who's basically a walking stoplight. Those are the... Those are the ones who'll get murdered or kill themselves. It's such a rush to see and know their time is numbered. With that in mind, I always get to class very early so I can scout out my classmates' fates. The first kid who walked in was basically radiating red. I chuckled to myself. Too damn bad, bro. But as people kept walking in, they all had the same intense glow. I finally caught a glimpse of my own rose-tinted reflection in the window. But I was too stunned to move. A professor stepped in and locked the door. But his aura was a sickening shade of green. Story number 5. They got the definition wrong. It has been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I understand the sentiment behind this saying, but it's wrong. I understand it completely in a different way. I entered the building on a bet. I was strapped for cash, and I didn't buy into the old legends of the hotel to begin with, so $50 was more than enough to get me to do it. was simple. Just reach to the top floor, the 45th floor, shine my flashlight from the window, and that's it. $50. The hotel was old and broken, including the elevator, so that meant hiking up the stairs. So up the stairs I went. As I reached each platform, I noted that the old brass plaques displaying the floor numbers 15, 16, 17, 18. I felt a little tired as I crept higher, but so far, no ghosts, no cannibals, no demons. Piece of cake. I can't tell you how happy I was. As I entered the last stretch of numbers, I joyfully counted them aloud at each platform. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 44. I stopped and looked back to the stairs. I must have miscounted. So I continued up. 44. One more flight. 44. And then I went down 10 flights. Still 44. I went down 15 flights. And I was still on floor 44. And so it's been like this as long as I can remember. So really, insanity isn't doing something repeatedly and expecting different results. It's knowing that the results will never change. That each door leads to the same staircase, to the same number. It's realizing that you no longer fall asleep. It's realizing you don't eat or drink anything and you don't die. It's not knowing whether you've been running for days or weeks or years. It's when the sobbing slowly turns into laughter. All right, so so those are 5 short, scary stories for this podcast episode. I think it was a good start. For the next episode, I'll try to find some that are, kind of build more suspense in the stories. These were pretty good stories. I like them. Especially the last one. I liked that one. And the cool thing about our podcast is that we record everything live. So this was all one take. No edits. We don't edit the actual podcast. I mean, we'll add something, some music or something in there. But other than that, we don't do anything. Keep it raw. And thank you so much for listening to the JORDEE podcast. We'll be back next Friday with episode 3 for this season, and you can find episode 1 of season 2 on our YouTube channel today, so go check that out. It's our first full episode that we're posting, so we're gonna make that a regular thing now. So we'll maintain both our YouTube and our Spotify channels. So we hope that you all had a great day or a great morning, and we'll be here next Friday with a new episode. This is Jordan, and you've been listening to the JORDEE podcast. Thank you so much. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe or follow us if you're listening to us on Spotify. All right, see ya.